Wilson turned the ball over 3 times, sacked 6 times, and tried to cover up for his bad defense all the times. Russ, 10 turnovers in his last 4 games as the Seahawks fall to the Rams. Brandon, Seattle's dropped 3 of their last 4 games now. Are you starting to think of these guys as pretenders after dropping to 6 and 3?
Absolutely not. They're just playing really bad ball right now. Think about it. We've been crushing this defense, and then they held them to 23 points yesterday, the LA Rams. But then offensively, they have a couple issues. Number one, you have to protect the quarterback. Everything you do. Their offensive line, they're not doing a great job of that. Russ is getting hit too many times. Number two, Russ, his feel is gone. His eyes are bad. Think about what got him into this discussion, why he's had so much success early on. Because Russ is that guy that's scrambling, is making moves in the pocket, and then all of a sudden he finds the guy. He happens to find the guy running wide open, or he throws the ball into double coverage and it gets through everyone, or he throws it to Tyler Lockett, and he, Tony toe tap in the back of the end zone. But what's happening now is Russ is doing that. He's throwing the ball in the end zone, and then it leads to a pick. That's their end result. And the last thing is teams know what they're dealing with now. They're predictable on offense. They're a team that wants to run the ball. I know there's a whole lot of talk about let Russ cook. But offensively, when you look at their passing game, it's not really sophisticated. It's not really developed. They don't really do a lot of things well. What they do is, hey, we're going to run the ball, then we're going to take shots. So how did the LA Rams play them yesterday? They eliminated the big play. So when you look at, what the Seattle Seahawks is dealing with right now, they're all fixable issues, but they should be concerned because if they don't turn this around quickly, then they're going to see themselves in a very vulnerable position.
So 2 major concerns for Seattle, and then I'll talk about the silver lining. The first one is that first Russ interception was really concerning because of the manner in which it happened. And Troy did a great job breaking it down during the game. He could have run for 20 yards and a first down. Yep. And for some reason, he felt the need to force this ball. When I saw him let go of the football, I thought it was going to be another one of those where a Seahawks receiver is just standing by himself in the corner of the end zone because it is so open for him to run for a first down and more. That's issue number 1, that Russ is pressing. I mean, the interceptions over the last 4 games, the fumbles now, 3 fumbles, 8 picks over the last 4 games. That's a big, big deal. That's the first point. Second point is this. DK Metcalf got shut down by Jalen Ramsey. Now, Jalen Ramsey might be the best corner in the league, so you can say that's an outlier. But if it's number 1 wide receiver in football or someone in that argument against number 1 corner, there should be some wins, some losses on both sides of the ledger. Instead, it was all wins on the Jalen Ramsey side of the ledger. Despite all that, Wilds, and that's not even talking about their defense, which played well yesterday, but I think is seriously flawed. The reason, Wilds, I still have to say they are contenders is this. Go down the list of every NFC playoff team. Tell me the flawless team. There isn't one. New Orleans quarterback is all of a sudden hurt, and Brandon has laid out brilliantly their playoff struggles. Green Bay cannot stop the run to save their life. Tampa can't deal with an opposing team's pass rush. Arizona has no experience and a mediocre defense, and the Rams don't trust their quarterback. So those are the 5 other playoff teams in the NFC, plus whatever comes out of the NFC East. So they have to still be contenders, Wilds, even if they are a obviously flawed football team.
So, Brandon, just not to pile on DK, but I want to play a game called Is This Something or Nothing? So DK wasn't even targeted until late in the 3rd quarter. He ends up with 4 catches for 28. His other previous worst game was against Patrick Peterson, 2 for 23. So is this a case of him feasting on everyone except the elite corners? Is this something or nothing?
You know, I got to be honest here. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here on television just because I occupied a seat and give a take. You know, there's so much that can go into this. You know, when I was in Denver and we had Nnamdi Asomugha on the other side when he was playing for the Oakland Raiders, and he was considered probably the best one-on-one corner at the time, we would literally go into games and say we're not throwing his way, and it would tick me off. I would say I'm emerging #1 wide receiver, and I'm playing really well right now, and you're not going to give me an opportunity when I'm on the side of Nnamdi's, and I didn't get it. So there's a lot that we don't know. The game plan could have been tailored to go away from those #1 cornerbacks. And then also, you know, it took me 3-4 years to really develop as far as a receiver at the line of scrimmage going against men. Now, it's a difference between going against cornerbacks and going against Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Peterson. When you're a big receiver and you're a bully, and you go against a bully for the very first time, it almost shocks you. Patrick Peterson, and I talked to him about this on his podcast, and it was about the first time I played against him, I dominated him. And then every game after that, it was a little give and take because he stood up to the challenge. So he's been prepped to go against these big #1 receivers. He does it every day against Larry Fitzgerald in practice. He had me in some classic battles there. Jalen Ramsey is a bully. So DK Metcalf, this is one of the areas where he needs to mature and grow, and that's beating one-on-one press coverage against really good corners, in particular, big corners, Nick.
I want to circle back to the Seahawks as a whole for a moment, because I obviously can't add anything more than you did about the #1 receiver against another #1 corner. I think we could get to the postseason and not have any real idea how good Seattle actually is, because Seattle right now doesn't have a single great win. The best team they've beaten is Miami, and that was Miami pre-Tua. No disrespect to your guy Fitzpatrick. After the Arizona game, Seattle plays, and I believe this is the order, Philly, Giants, Jets, Washington. That's 4 in a row. So they can get to 10, 11. They have the San Francisco week 17. They could get to 11 wins without a single great win on the ledger. So I think we're going to have real question marks, Jenna, about how good Seattle is against high-level competition even come January, unless this Thursday they beat up on the Cardinals. If this Thursday they not only beat the Cardinals, but beat up on the Cardinals and send a message, the division goes through them, that'll be meaningful. But if this